Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. So in this first part of the tutorial, I'm going to talk about the modeling, and then in the next part, we're going to look at the texturing, lighting, and rendering out of the final image. So let's start. I'm going to introduce a cylinder, okay, and I think what I'll do is change my units to millimeters. Change this to millimeters, I think. Or let me put centimeters. And what we can do is we can leave the segments as they are 32. Then we can change the radius to like let's use one. Let's use, let's say 0.01. That's too small. I think let's use 0.1. Let's say 0.1. Let's leave it somewhere there. What's going on? That's like 100. So we need about 10 millimeters should be okay. Yeah, 10 millimeters should be okay. And then we are going to change the depth to something like that. Something like that. This is even long than we need. I think something like that should work. Yeah, something like this should work. Let's go to our front view mode. Then let's bring this up. Okay, then what we can do is we need to shade this smooth. Okay, then we need to work on our normals. As you can see, we put some weird shading there. So we come to our object data properties and then come to normals. Then we turn on our auto smoothing, and we can see that our shading has been worked on. All right, so let's now begin to work on our lighting bulb. Okay, so we hit tab and go into edit mode. Okay, I'm using machine tools for this, which is much faster for selecting and changing between object mode and edit mode. But this is pretty much the same thing when you hear hitting tab on your keyboard. Okay, so I'm going to go to my face mode, click on that, then I will go to my right side view. What we want to do is we would like to create an arc, something like that. Okay, because this is a tube, this is a light an energy saving light bulb tube, so we want to create something like a U-turn over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a spin to this face going around, and then we extrude it out to create a face. Okay, so what we can do is we need to bring our cursor to somewhere there. So you hold shift and right click, brings the cursor to somewhere there, somewhere here should be okay. Then we activate our spin tool, and you see right now we cannot do any spinning because we are not in the right axis. So if you look at the top bar here, you've got different kinds of axes that you can use for your spinning. So if you come to your Y, it brings this, which means that your spinning will move in the Y direction. But in our case, we want it to move along the X. Okay, we want it to move along the X. So we come to our X, and then we have got this. Okay, so what we can do to extrude our spin is just click on this and any of these two plus buttons, and then click and hold, and then just drag your mouse to your right, and yeah, that's it. Just drag it to like so. I think I will use a negative 180 for this one. Negative 180. Yeah, negative 180. That looks much okay to me. I think I can also turn up my steps so that it can become more rounded. I think around 16 should be okay. But we will use the subdivision. Okay, let me just bring this up to like so. That should be okay. We don't want it to look so jaggedy, so okay, let's use 24. Let's use 24. That should be okay. All right, so we have our spin, we have done our extrude. Okay, so what we can do is we want to extrude this face, so we can hit E on our keyboard to extrude this, and yeah, we have our extrusion moving there, so we can just move it up to like so. Go back to our front, our right side mode. Okay, and I can just push it down a little, just like that. Yeah, so yeah, we have our first part of the electric tube. Yeah, we have our first part. So what we want to do is we want to create a small connection between this tube and that part. Okay, so what we are going to do, we're going to add in some lookouts on both cylinders there. So let's just Control R to add in a lookout, to add a lookout to somewhere there. Let's add somewhere there. Then we'll bring in another one and to put it somewhere there. Let's put it somewhere there. That is okay. Then we come to the other side and bring in another lookout with Control R, and then we also bring in another lookout as well, to somewhere there. Okay, so I think this lookout isn't okay, so we're going to slide it up with GG, just for slide, bring it somewhere like so. Yeah, that should be okay. That should be okay. Okay, so what we want to do is we want these center ones. We want to connect these center ones, so we can delete these faces. We want these center ones to be connected to these other center ones. So let's say, which center ones do we have? Which ones get the center one? Okay, let's do this to see our centers. Let's go back to our edge mode. Let's click on this and let's click on this face. Let's try to connect them and see what happens. Okay, how is this connection going? Is this okay? Is this my center? I think the angle is off. As you can see, the angle is off, so I need to bring it to like the next one. So I can just undo this. Let me clean this, bring it to on there, and then F. Yeah, I think that should bridge well. Okay, so let's delete these faces over here so that we can create an opening. Let's delete these faces with X and faces. Okay, then we can connect these edges on top, this edge and that edge, then F on the keyboard to connect. And then at the bottom, all we need to do is just need to select these edges and these two edges, F to fill. Yeah, then on top we can just dissolve this edge with X and dissolve edge. Yeah, so we have something like that. Okay, so let's just close this shape out. F, turn to the other side. So I select this edge and that edge, then close it like that. Okay, so we have got that kind of bridge in between the two cylinders. So what we can do is we want to create some rounding. Okay, so like I said in the before, we are not using the sub D method or the subdivision method. we're just going to use the destructive workflow, which means introducing things like bevels and booleans and so on. But we're not going to use any booleans in this tutorial. Okay, so what we need to do is just bevel these edges around. So we're going to hold Alt and Control and click that. That should be able to select all the edges round. Has it done this here? Okay, let me just select them manually here, here, and there. Yeah, then Control B, hit Control B. Use Control B. Before I can run this operation, let me go back to our object mode and then reset our scale with Control A. Reset my scale. So then I should go back to my edit mode. Okay, so I can now hit my Control B to bevel these edges. Let me bevel them to somewhere like so. I don't want some weird shading taking place. So somewhere like so. Yeah. Somewhere like so. I think that is okay with me. I think that is okay. That is okay with me. Okay, yeah. So we're just going to select. Sorry, let me just bring back. Okay, so I'm just going to select my loop around this. We want to create a bevel as well, or maybe let's say not really a bevel but a chamfer around this edge, so that it can create that natural feel. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Okay, we have selected our loop. So Control B, and okay, we have a little issue here now. A little issue. Okay, so what we can do is maybe we can just go back. Yeah. So we go back to this point. I'm going to hit Control B, and I'm going to bring my bevel to somewhere like so, somewhere like there. That should be okay. That should be okay to somewhere like so. That should be okay. Yeah, we don't want these edges to meet. That should be okay. Okay, all right, so we're going to select this loop around it so that we can create that chamfer that we wanted to create before. Let's just select our whole loop around it, something like that. That should be okay. Then Control B, then we will reduce our segments to like one should be okay. Okay, so as you can see, if I move it further, you see what's happening. It's bringing this weird shading. So just bring it to like somewhere there. Yeah, like somewhere like so. Then we also go to the other side, also select the loop around everything, select the loop around it. Okay, then we can also do the same with Control B, introduce the chamfer to something like so, yeah. Then we can exit our edit mode, and yeah, so we have something like this. See, we have some shading here. As you can see, we have some shading around here. Yeah, I think we'll sort them out. Okay, sort them out. For now, we have our basic block out for this part. So what we can do is duplicate this with Shift D, and move it to the x-axis, so put it somewhere like there, like so. Yeah, so you have two tubes of the light bulb, so select them both and then I'll move them up, LE2, shift G and Z, move them up. Okay, so now what we want to do is create a holder for these light bulbs. Okay, so what we can do is I think let me try to reset my cursor. The cursor to world origin. Yeah, so it brings it back to the center. That was just shift and S. Let's just shift S and then cursor to origin, but then it brings it back to the center. Okay, so we're going to introduce another cylinder, but this time around we want something big, so we are going to bring it to something like so. Then the depth, I think we can just have something small, pretty small, not really big, not small, something like that. Vertices, I think we can just go with 64 just to make it more rounded. Yeah, 64, that should be okay. And let's shade this as smooth. Then we repeat the same operation we did with the tubes. Auto smoothing them out. Okay, that should be okay for now. So what I want to do is move this up a little. I think what we can also do is bring these cylinders to like the midpoint. So I'll move these along my x, bring them to my center, or something like so, and then I'll bring them down. Let me bring them somewhere there. Okay, so now let's start working on our piece over there. Okay, so what we can do is go into our edit mode and then we'll go into our vertices, which is hitting one on the keyboard. Okay, so we're going to go to our wireframe mode so that we can be able to select all the vertices. Okay, let us shift Z. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to drag this down a little bit, then we're going to extrude them out like so, and we are going to scale them in a little. Then we're going to click highlight this on top, then we're going to scale them a bit as well, then we're going to add in two loop cuts. We'll add in a loop cut somewhere there and somewhere. Oh, okay, let me just undo that. And then we're going to introduce another loop cut to somewhere there. That should be okay. Then we're going to extrude this again just a little bit. We'll extrude this just a little bit, something like that. Let's go back to our wireframe mode. Yeah, that should be okay. Let's go to our edge mode. So what we want to do is want to create some rounding around this, so we're just going to bevel this, Control B, and introduce some segments. I think something like that should work. Also down here we're just going to select the loop and Control B, and something like that should work. Yes, that should work. Okay, so we'll go to our face mode. We select the top part. We want to insert this top part so that we can create some nice part. We'll insert it a little bit to somewhere like so, and then we will extrude this out. We extrude this out just a little, not too much, just a little, just like that. Yeah, just like that should be okay. Then we're just going to bevel the edges around. So I'm going to bevel these edges around. So just Control B and what's happening? Control B and bevel this little. Let's bevel this. Let's also bevel this one. I think it's Control B and bevel. No, let me go back. Control B and bevel it out. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So what we can do with these faces around this loop is we want to extrude them inner. Okay, so we select the whole loop, we hit E to extrude, then we hit R, our right click on the mouse to cancel the operation, and then Alt S to extrude inner. So now we can extrude along the normals. Okay, so we just want to be slight, we don't want it to be a whole lot of extrusion. Yeah, something like that should be okay. So we're just going to bevel all the edges around this. So we're just going to select all the edges around it, select. Just want to create that depth for reflections. Yeah, without these bevels it's quite little impossible for us to achieve our, yeah, something like that. That should be okay. Okay, that should be okay for now. Something like that should be okay. Okay, I think maybe let me move these to the center again. Shift somewhere there. I think let me just move it down now. Something like so. Yeah, as you can see, we're already forming up our light bulb. Already forming our light bulb. Maybe let's see the reflections. Let me change my match cap to something like that. I'm sure you are able to see some visible changes. Yeah, so you get to see some visible changes. You can see. We'll still try to modify our scene and keep on it properly. Okay, so now we want to create the final part of the light bulb, which is the metal part, which goes below, which goes into the bulb holder. All right, so we'll just extract a piece from this geometry. So we go back to our edit mode, go to our face mode, and then we'll extract this face over here. Okay, so we're just going to create a duplicate of this. That is Shift S. I'm sorry, that is Shift D. Okay, let me just go back and do that. That is Shift D to duplicate, and we're going to hit P on the keyboard to make a separate selection. So it has now become a separate object. Okay, I think I'll rename this here as metal. So metal cap. It should be okay. So we're going to exit our edit mode, then we click on our new part. What is it? Oh, okay. So let me name this as body. Then the one below, rename it as metal cap. Yeah. Okay. So let's go into our edit mode. This mode. Then we're going to extrude this out. We're going to extrude it out to like so. Okay, extrude it out to like so. And then we are going to insert inner. I think insert inner. Then we can move it down with GZ, move it up to something like that. Okay, then we are going to extrude it again, extrude it again to something like so. I think it's pretty too big, it's too big, so just undo that. Okay, I think it's too big, it's really big, really big. What can we do about it? Let's see what we can do. Okay, so this trying to bring it much inner like so. Let's bring it inner, so then we'll move this just a bit out like so, and then we can extrude this out. Then we can scale it in a little, just a little bit, just to create that. I think this is just too big. Feels too big. Let's see what we can do about it. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. I think just from here, what we can do is we can just let's delete this part. Let's delete. I think, yeah, I think that would be the best solution. Let's go back to our edge mount, delete this part. So we're going to our face mode, then we're going to scale this. I think let's scale this like so. Yeah, that should be it. And then we'll create a duplicate, create a separate selection. Okay, then go into our separate selection, rename this as metal. Okay, then go into our edit mode, then we're going to extrude this to something like so. Okay, interesting. So what we can do is let's bring this up a little. Let's bring this up to somewhere like so, then scale it to like so. Okay, then we're going to extrude this out. So you're seeing this, we'll extrude it out like so. Then we are going to insert something like that. Then we're going to move it a little bit down like so, and we are going to extrude this, and we're going to scale it in just a little. Okay, I think we have something. I think I'll bring this down just a little. Let me see. Yeah, I think that should be it. As you can see, we have got something to work with. Alright. Okay. Alright. So what we can do is just add in some bevels. We don't want to have everything looking so sharp. So just going to add in some bevels. 2, 3. Just bevels of 3. Just some small bevels should work. Some small round bevels should work. Bevels should work. Small round bevels, they should work. Okay, it's been at the bottom. Control B, bevel is just little. Okay, something like that. Okay, that should be okay. I think we are okay. I think we are okay. Okay, so something that we can also do is we can create another separate object. I think duplicate this with Shift D. Okay, then we create separate selection. Going to rename this. Okay, let me just go back to my object mode. I'll rename this as my base. Okay, yeah, so we have our base over there. So what we can do with our base is let's go to our edit mode, face mode. We can extrude it a little, just a little, like that. Then I'm going to insert. Insert. What's going on? Okay, I'm going to bring in an insert to somewhere there. Then we can bring it down. We want to create more like a pouch, something like that. Yeah. Then we can select our edges and bevel them as well to be, and bevel these edges to like so. Yeah, that should be okay. Okay, that should be it for now. So we have our base, we have got our cape. Okay, so I think we need one more thing. I think we need to add in some pipes coming out of the tube. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything I've forgotten? I think this video is already taking quite some time. Let's see. I think we are almost there. I think we have done pretty much almost everything that needs to be done. I think we have this. I'm not comfortable about this edge over here. I think we need to bevel this edge. Yeah, I think we need to bevel it as well. Yeah, it's this one. It's this one. I think what we can do is we can just scale it. If I scale it, interesting. Okay, so what we can do is we think we can bevel it. Yeah, let's just bevel it. We can bevel it to like so. And bevel it to like so. And bevel it to like so. It still looks a bit weird. Okay, what can we do about it? Let's try to scale it in slowly so that it blends pretty well. Scale it somewhere there. Yeah, that looks better. I think that looks better. Let's go back to. Yeah, I think that looks much better. It looks so much better. As you can see, it looks so much better. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce two small cylinders on this side and on the other side, and then we will conclude this tutorial. Okay, so let me just control A and bring in a cylinder. I think this needs to be so tiny, so I think even 32 segments is okay. Radius, I think it should be very small, something like that. It should be okay. Depth, it's just very small anchors, so don't really need to be too big or anything. I think that is all. Just shade smooth, and then click one, bring back our auto smoothing. Then we're going to move these up to one there. Let's go back to our top view mode. Let's go to our wireframe mode. Okay, I'm going to move this along my X. I will bring it to somewhere there. Okay, go back to our solid view mode. And then we can rotate these along my Y. Yeah, Y 90 degrees. Y 90 degrees. And I think that is okay. And what I'm going to do is just apply a mirror modifier to this so that it goes to the other side as well. So I'm going to add a mirror, and we are going to pick this object, yeah, and yeah, we have that already. So what we can do is I think we need to bevel the edges here. So just click on these edges. I'm sorry for that. Just select the whole loop and bevel this to somewhere like so. Yeah, and yeah, something like that. Yeah, so we have those cups over there. Okay, yeah, so we have our light bulb model. I think in the next part, before we go into texturing, I'm just going to create some small models, go down there. But this is pretty much the modeling part. You can go in and do in some more refinements if you want, but I think to me this is pretty much okay. Yeah, so see you in the next video.